Meanwhile, back at the ranch. So how are we getting on with the JBL Recone kits? I had trouble removing the hard epoxy or whatever the glue JBL using solvents. So I ended up using a wire brush to clean off the old glue. Not a wire brush, a rotating head on a drill bit. So cleaned that up, cleaned the basket of the speaker so there's no dust or crap on it. As I was cleaning everything up, I put tape over the magnet gap. You don't want crap getting in there, it's just going to hold you back and give you no more work. So that was all taped up. Cleaned all that stuff. Then the next job, if I can remember from my days when these drivers were about a lot, this was called the JBL patented, what is it? Vented gap cooling technology. Right, so you can see the tolerance these things are built to. They're actually very, very well made speakers. That piece of paper's what? A couple of millimeters thick. Barely goes in. So as the voice coil of the speaker moves up and down in here, I think what happens is there's little holes in the back of it with gauze, so that pulls and pushes air in and out round about the magnet to keep it cool. If magnets and speakers heat up too much, you end up getting a thing called power compression. Or if you drive them too hard, you get a thing called power compression, where they don't behave particularly very musically anymore. Right, so I had to take a rotating tool to the basket to clean all that up. We covered this up first to stop any crap getting in. Then the next job is you go round about the magnet gap. There's various ways you can do it. These ones were actually, the speakers had exploded quite well and not left too much crap. So you go around it with blotting paper, or if you use lights or stuff, you get called gel that they used to put over lights to change the colour of the lights. So I always found that was pretty good because it's really thin. Bit of gel, put some masking tape over the end of it, force it down in the gap, go round about it and keep going until it's clean, right? So that's a pain in the ass job. Now that I've done this, I've not done it in ages. Now that I've done it again, I've remembered why I don't like doing it. It's not difficult. You don't want to chip any of these surfaces, you don't want to scratch any of them, you don't want to leave dents in them. You need to glue to bond onto something good, but it's just a boring job. I think this is the JBL black glue in question. So the next hard thing is getting the glue onto the mating surfaces. So the spider of the loudspeaker sits in there. There's a shim that goes into the magnet gap that allows you to very, very accurately set the voice coil in the correct position. Then you have to put glue. You put the glue around that edge here, around that edge there. Put the kit in. What I usually do is put it a quarter or half a turn away from where the terminals hook up to the loudspeaker pods, and very gently turn it down around a little bit. You do not want, if you're trying doing that, you don't want to get the new Recone kit stuck in the wrong position, otherwise you'll cause yourself a world of pain. But I usually put it in maybe quarter turn out, half a turn out, and gently turn it round without pushing it down too hard, just so there's a nice even spread of glue. The best way I've found is if you turn the loudspeaker whilst applying the glue. That seems to work quite well. Let's look at some voice coils. So as I say, it's a boring job. It's not a difficult job, it's a boring job. So let's take you off the selfie stick and we'll have a look at some JBL Recone kits and what you get in them. So this is a 2527, and it is very similar to the 2526. Here's the one that shall we have a look at what we're replacing then? So that's a new Recone kit. This is the one that I took out. That has not had a good day. I've seen them worse than that, I really have. You can see the black round about the magnet where it's overheated, started rubbing. The epoxy glues come off the copper. Things started shorting out. I've seen these things go on fire before. Interestingly enough, the wire JBL use on these old drivers is flat, it's not circular. I believe as they're building up the layers in the voice coil. If it was circular, there'd be gaps as they're building it up, so you can actually get more wire per turn on the voice coil if they use flat wire. Does that make sense? I don't know. So, in the JBL Recone kit, you get the speaker cone, voice coil already attached. This part here is called the spider. The spider is what holds the voice coil in position as it's moving back and forward, and it stops it rubbing. Now again, these things are built to very, very tight tolerances. Inside the box you also get some glue. I should be more prepared, shouldn't I? That's, hey! Not in a lot of my videos. That's about the first time. You finally got to see your old Uncle Zambo's ugly chops. That's the foam surround. That goes on here after we've put the voice coil back in. You get some glue. You get the dust cone for the middle. And the other thing you get is this plastic shim. You see that? The plastic shim, again, is only about a millimetre or two thick. And that's the thing that locates the voice coil in position. Can I do this with one hand? So this is a 2227. So imagine you've got all your glue on. Stick that on there, there we go, did it. Stick it all in there, and that thing I was talking about earlier on. That's about quarter of a turn out. The tags have got to line up with the terminals on the back of the speakers. So I would put the glue in there. I'd put the glue round about the outside edge and gently turn it until the two wire tags from the back of the loudspeakers match up to the loudspeaker terminals. Does that make sense? Next step, I usually use the backside of a knife. It could be no paintbrush or anything. Just go around here, push it tightly down, then go and do the spider at the bottom. Same thing again. Push that tightly down. I've noticed in the, I did a 2227 the other day. The spiders are very, very tight fit above the motor assembly on the speaker or the magnet. So again, get the backside of an old paintbrush or something flat. It's not sharp. You do not, be really careful. Don't have screwdrivers, Stanley knives or anything anywhere near it. You do not want to put a hole through the cone, and you don't want to do in the spider. So you go round, make sure the glue's set. Leave that overnight, or maybe not leave it overnight, maybe these will straight on. The foam bits then go round about the outside of the speaker. I would turn that over and leave it so the weight of the speaker acts as a weight on the glue until everything's set up. And if that didn't make any sense, here's one I did the other day. So you can still see the shim. I've not taken that out yet. It's a real tight fit. Hope I've not glued the bloody thing in there. Hope I've not glued it in there. It's difficult to do with one hand. I imagine it'll pop out okay. Glued it all up, put the foam strip round about the edge. I was ultra pedantic with the spider assembly, and we've got the positive and negative terminals. in the right position. Interesting thing again with these old JBL drivers, if you apply positive to the black terminal, it moves the speaker forward, which is very counterintuitive. I don't know why JBL did that, but it's something to watch out. I'll show you how to check that on the next video. So we've done part 1, which was stripping them. Get rid of that. This is part 2. Clean the magnet gap up, spend a lot of time in that. One tiny bit of grit or dirt getting onto the back of a voice coil would be enough to rub the epoxy insulation off the wire the voice coil is wound out of and burn out your drive unit. It's a boring job, takes a bit of time. Why would you risk putting it together if it hadn't been done properly? When that pops out, the dust cone goes back on and we resolder the speaker terminals, it should be good to go. Yeah, solder them back up. We'll talk about that in the next video as well. You want them loose enough so when the speaker's moving back and forward, they don't get stretched or broken. But you don't want them so loose that they could potentially touch each other in the back. I think they're probably covered in epoxy as well, but you don't want a short circuit in the back of a speaker, and it's not a fun job. Saying that, repairing any piece of broken machinery and getting it to work again, there's always some sense of what do you call it, pride after you get it working, isn't it? I've basically taken 3 pieces of scrap that I had lying about in my workshop and made them into functionable, usable things that I can now go on and sell. 2226s are selling them for about 400 quid. 2227s, I don't even know if you can buy them anymore, they're really rare. The voice coils look similar. The 2226 has more convolutions on the suspension at the top, but when I looked into the loudspeakers, have got things called Thiele small parameters. I'll stick a link in the description. Thiele small parameters measure the physical, mechanical and electrical properties of loudspeakers and how they behave. One of the crucial ones, especially for a bass driver, is a thing called Xmax, maximum linear excursion. How much the speaker will move back and forward with the voice coil still being in the magnetic gap of the speaker. I think these are about 7.5mm, and the 2227s are about 5mm. So that is definitely not designed to generate any bass. Doesn't move about enough. Maybe work in a horn loaded box or whatever, but they were never great bass drivers. They're great at reproducing low mid, especially human voices and stuff like that. They are good old drivers. But if you're doing it, stick with me. This is upload number 2. You finally got to see what I look like as well. Don't know how to edit my dial out. I'm not going to do it. And number 3, we'll solder these connections up and I'll show you how to get the dust cone on the speaker. Speaking of dust cones and stuff like that, any crap that goes down in that gap, I don't know if you can see how thin that is. You're lucky if there's a millimetre or 2mm in there, so it shows you the tolerances things are machine to, so everything costs money. And even drilling into the magnet and stuff like that, these are all extra manufacturing processes. That needs a clean, doesn't it? I'll give that a clean before we go any further, because I don't want any dust getting in the back. But you can see the 3 holes in the back. So as the speaker moves back and forward in here, it's blowing, hopefully moving air about to keep the magnet assembly cool. These things can get really hot. I remember working PA systems years ago, and at the end of the night we had big horn loaded Martin audio sub bass cabinets. Where the driver sat was behind a wooden panel. You could put your hand in the wooden panel and feel it was actually hot due to the thermal activity of the magnet. You can't create or destroy energy. There's no such thing as a free lunch. It's got to go somewhere. Right, so I'll put this as a, what do you call it, a little thread on YouTube so you can follow them one after the other. Hope you can understand the accent. Hope this wasn't too boring for you. And hopefully the next time we see this, I'm going to have that in a loudspeaker cabinet making a noise, and we'll finish up these ones as well. Thank you all for watching. Right, bye.